Now then, you alright? What's going on?
Jesus. That attacked me there, innit? Literally just about to ask Steez, you're the type of fan that made me laugh. Like, you proper gritty with it in terms of you just don't rate rival players. I respect it.
I do.
No,
I see through a lot of hype with, like, obviously,
as a fan
with your boy for one.
Oh, Trent. I fought against us. He looked like the one defensive liability as well, so I kind of see that. But I think an element of being a fan, though, is you have to look at rival players a bit more disdain, innit?
Here's the thing, because I see this a lot. Yeah, I get called out for being biased, right? I'm unapologetically biased. I'm here as a United fan. I'm not here as a representative of the Premier League. I'm not here as a representative of Sky Sports or BT Sport. I'm not asked or employed or even suggested that I give my opinion as a neutral. Because guess what? I haven't got the ability to give my opinion as a neutral. I don't want to give my opinion as a neutral. I fucking hate everyone except United.
Oh,
so there you go.
I know. Can you tell me what's going on as well? And this is on topic, but you mentioned it, but I didn't really take it in. What have you done that has actually pissed off the Geordies?
Oh, just told them how their summer went.
It went bad there, innit? They lost Minter, who looks class for Brighton.
It's signing Lewis Hall for 28 mil. Like, when you just see what we've just signed in Mazraoui for 17, you can't tell me signing Lewis Hall for that sort of cash was a good deal. And people are like, you lot have wasted loads of money. Yeah, I know. So listen to our experience. I
hate that argument. Do you know when you say you've done a bad transfer, you've done something bad, and someone does what about them? They said, what about when you did it?
Yeah.
Does that then make what you... So because you've done it, does that make the Lewis Hall deal good then? Or are they just...
They're mad that Mitchell hasn't signed them loads of wonder kids. They're mad that they paid 28 mil for Finger. They're mad
they're pissed off with Paul Mitchell. I've seen that.
They're mad that we paid them 2.5 because someone's reported that we paid 10, but like Laurie said it was 2.5, and I know Laurie's sources are as good as they get. So I would expect it to be 2.5. They're just mad, and they're just being abusive now. They haven't even got a point to come up with.
Are they banking on potential though with Lewis Hall?
Maybe, but like they barely played him last year. This is the other thing, right? They had him on loan last year.
How old is he? He's really young, isn't he?
I think he started 8 matches for them last year. So you're like, okay, so that's your marquee signing this year, and you chose to go with a guy that you had last year and played 8 times. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't make that a great decision. Like, you can't tell me that that's a great decision. They're just mad. They're also mad because they've only just got internet like a fortnight ago. So they're coming up with all of like, you're not even from Manchester. Okay. I mean, we're literally sitting in M1. Like, you couldn't get more. Our postcode is M1. M-fucking-1. Right? Right here, right now. Not from Manchester, though, so don't worry about that. Also, we're Glory supporters. I mean, I'm 40. I've been going for... this is my 34th season, which definitely makes me feel older when you said it out loud. I thought we was walking up to Old Trafford for the Fulham game, and I took a picture and tweeted it, like, season 34. And then I went, oh, shit, man, 34 seasons. And my dad was like... I think he's in his 59th season. Yeah. That's a lot of seasons. But yeah, Glory supporters, obviously.
But that's not the first time. They've been having quite a bit of a go at you. Marcus says in the chat where Newcastle in the league, they're above us in the league. Why writing off Hall?
And what?
We're not writing off Hall, but 28 mil is because they're banking on him becoming something, and he hasn't been so far. I don't think he's a bad player. He looks all right. He scored at Old Trafford. He looked decent. But £30 million it is a bit steep.
It's their market signing. I mean? It's their big signing of the summer. Imagine United signed someone we had on loan last year and we paid 8 mil for him.
They can't sign
Amrabat. It's like us paying our biggest transfer this summer being Amrabat. That's what it would be.
But didn't they try and sign Thingy for like 70? Gahey?
Yeah.
And then that didn't go through.
And then they're like, we're being held accountable by PSR because of the cartel clubs, the fucking cartel clubs. Like, any clubs in the Premier League can fucking agree on anything, especially to keep anyone else out. Fuck me.
So, was it...
by the way, we've had some absolutes...
have the cartel clubs stopped Brighton spending 200 mil?
Nope.
They helped. If anything,
one of
the cartel clubs helped.
Yeah.
And Brighton able to spend 200 million this summer. So Brighton just don't have... Newcastle obviously don't have sellable assets, and just the way that they've kind of framed it, means he can't sign anyone. And he signed someone that didn't play all season for like 80 mil. Was it not 80 mil? Was it like 60? Tonali? Gambler?
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate.
That was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate.
I think he deserved that, don't it?
It's funny, though.
It is funny.
We've had some... I was going to say, is it the school holidays? But the kids are back in school now. So I don't know what the reason is. But this week, is it because it's rival fans? Is it because it's just, going international break on a loss brings out the helmets? But, okay, now, last 2 lives I've done, the chat has been an absolute shit show of just low IQ, repeated opinions. I mean, it's like Twitter. There was a guy that was doubling down on all of the wrong opinions about, like, Mazraoui couldn't get into the team, De Ligt got replaced by Dyer, and you're like, mate, the truth's out there,
Yeah. So what is it in the comments that has been riling you up? I've seen a couple, but what in particular
just
is it?
Fuckwits.
What is it? What is the actual topic of discussion? Is it on the start of the season?
Fernandes shit. Yeah. He can't save any shots, and you're like, okay. So he literally saved the highest percentage of shots last season, but he can't save shots, and they're like, don't use stats. Okay, but he literally saved the most shots last season. So like, if you say, look, I think he could improve X, Y, and Z. I think his positioning for this isn't great. I think he's maybe not great on crosses. I can listen to that because it's like a thoughtful opinion where you go, he can't save shots, yet he saved the most shots last year. Like, you're like, that's like saying Haaland can't score goals. That's literally, it's the same thing going, Haaland can't score goals. And, be like, and then you try and justify it by going, well, he gets lots of easy shots. And you're like, but you're saying he can't score goals, mate.
I'm going to stop you there. That I get what you're trying to do with that analogy of Onana and Haaland, but I still think it's a bit of a false equivalence. That I'm going to be honest, because...
See, Marcus goes, that's a volume stat. He faced the most. No, he saved the highest percentage of the shots he faced. That's not a volume stat. He saved the highest percentage of the shots he faced. He saved the highest percentage in the league. See, you're fucking wrong. Fuck him off, Jay, because he's just an absolute sausage. He was at it yesterday.
Who?
It's Marcus' character. Bye-bye. No, don't time him out. Fuck him off. Stats. Hang on. Let me just read that again. Move out the way. Stats can be misleading though. If United allowing 10 times the amount of shots, then he can bound to save more on average.
No, but percentage doesn't. Yeah, but it's percentage, so that doesn't really factor.
And also, we was like, I think we conceded the 4th highest amount of shots. I think like Sheffield United had more. There's a couple of teams had more, but yeah.
Look at the teams we're describing in that though.
It's not great.
Yeah, not great.
No one's sitting here defending it. It was the same yesterday. There was a Villa fan was like, I'd said something along the lines of, there's been a little bit of improvement this year, and it was like, what improvement? You're still facing 20 shots a game, and I was like, well, actually,
we haven't.
It's almost half how many. So
we haven't.
There's one for the starters. Jot that one.
We haven't faced as many shots. There's been elements of being a little bit more solid, but I've said this on Paddock. I don't think I've said it to you on camera, and I want to see whether you agree. Is there a little bit of a situation where United were so bad last season that you could literally only get better? So what can happen is you can reference last season and be like, United are a bit better this season than last, but it's still not be good enough. And that's
United could improve a lot and still not be good enough.
That scares me. I've said that loads. I mean, that's the most that's what scares me about the season.
We could improve a hell of a lot and be nowhere near winning the league.
Yeah, I know. We could. United are in a situation where we could actually improve a decent amount this season and still be just about fighting for top 4. So that's what
we could improve a hell of a lot and be 5th.
And that's
is 5th Champions League this year, or does it depend on results still?
I'm not sure. Because who we're going to compete against is like Chelsea are inconsistent. Tottenham, I feel like I disrespect Tottenham a lot, but it's just the one team that if I'm in a race against them, I don't fear them. I know they finished above us last season, but they just have that element of being able to bottle stuff.
Jesus Christ, did United try and not finish anywhere last year though? Oh my good God. Yeah, I think there's so many areas United need to improve. Can Onana do better? Yeah, with and without the ball. Can the defence do better? Yes, with and without the ball. Can the midfield do better? Yep, it could actually start being there. Can the forwards do more? Like, Jesus, can they? Can they? Yeah, I mean, we aren't creating chances. Like, there's so much wrong with us. And then, the argument that you got people just immediately click to, like, we finished 8th and we lost more games we've ever lost. The manager's got to go. And you're like, right, okay. Are you just ignoring the mitigations? Because the mitigations are real. The mitigations for why we came where we came last season are real. Now, if that repeats with all of our players available, then absolutely you go, yeah, this guy's not good enough.
So, Danny Sabbath. Oh, yeah, Danny. I met him at JD Gym Salford. I've not been back. I go to NRG mostly. But he says, because he was right in front of me, and he goes, we've got to get your bench press up.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Danny, listen, I weigh 70 kilos. I'm not a heavy guy. And I can bench about 100. But I don't. But I tell Steve this all the time. I don't go to the gym to get swole. So I just kind of, it's a maintenance thing. So I'm not trying to go there and look like the Hulk, basically. So I think I touched a nerve that actually.
With you?
Yeah. I think a man saying need to get your bench press up. I think that triggered me more than I realised.
I was doing bench this morning, but I was only doing 60 kg.
Yeah.
I was just repping it out. I was just repping it out. Like, you don't want to be going in there and just fucking ego lifting all the time. That's not good for anybody.
I don't do that. I'm in good shape, and I like to stay the composition that I've got in it. I'm not trying to.
I have done it. I have done it where I've gone and just gone,
you definitely
we are
will.
fucking putting all. Look, we're going to put Metallica on, and we are going to try and lift the world today. There was one of my mates, Quinny. We used to go in and just deadlift our fucking heads off. We got up to 240s on deadlifts, and it was one. I don't think he was actually at 240 for us. He might have been 225 or 230. This kg, not pounds as well. Where he lifted it and passed out. But he didn't hit his head on anything, so I just took a picture of him looking like a swastika on the floor, just fucking absolutely caved in.
Looking like a James Bryce says,
what else is he supposed to do when your mate does that?
Yeah, exactly. You need Ronnie hating on Everton more. I think I've done enough. I'm just watching him closely.
The thing is, Everton, they're not chipper at all. Everton are a bit like United at the moment. You ever go at United and you kind of go, fuck off. Like I'm not happy with it, but I ain't really got a lot of ammo. Whereas Everton, you hit Everton at the minute and they're just like,
yeah, it feels like they've been
they got nothing. They got nothing.
Honestly, my little hater raid towards Everton, it does have that thing of being unfair. It feels a bit unfair because what can an Everton fan say, and what can Everton say back to a United fan that holds weight as bad as we are, especially when they've looked absolutely tosh the first 3 games of the season, by the way. So I don't know. I just think it's funny. This comes from a person that wasn't massively advocating for us signing Branthwaite, but because of the way that the Everton fans behaved, I don't know if you got it on Twitter.
You almost want to go grip him.
Yeah. I feel like I want to buy him, just to be salty for like 20 million.
Yeah.
I feel like even I feel like you'd even accept us signing for 20 million.
Just as a backup.
Yeah, probably Euro Martina. Yeah, as a backup.
Yeah,
he's definitely good enough.
He's definitely good enough to be a nice backup.
They say he plays left back and he's like 6'5". I'm not sure. I've never seen Dan Burn. But other than that, yeah, I can't picture Branthwaite playing left back, especially when I saw his game at St James Park against Isak. Isak fucking had his way with him.
Do you reckon there's any desire to go to a back three? Looking at the amassing of centre halves that we're doing and the fact that we were looking at Branthwaite.
Some people believe that United's team might be suited towards a back three, but back threes are becoming more and more outdated though in the modern game. I think Inter Milan still play it with Inzaghi, and they look decent. I think teams usually like to start in a 4 and go into a 3 shape rather than starting.
I think that adaptability is what's key, because I think sometimes if you play a back 3, you can get pinned into a back 5, and you can't get out of the back 5 almost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you almost can't. And I think sometimes having the rotations within the 4. Like we play a paddock, we play a 3-2-5. We've hammered that, haven't we, all summer? But we realistically play a 4-2-3-1. So it's having the rotations within the system as you move through the different sort of areas of the pitch. That's really important.
Because it's like Man City. Man City is in theory a
4-3-3,
but it's not. They play a 3.
No, it's like
3 at the back.
2-3, maybe.
Yeah. Because they got Rico Lewis now starting right back for them. He's not a right back. Basically, he's like a 10-y kind of midfielder, like on the ball. So it's weird. Do you know what I mean? But
apparently, someone I saw the message earlier in the Telegram group. If you're a paddock member and you're not in the Telegram group, get in the Telegram group. It's legend there. Someone tagged me in it. I've not had a chance to reply to it yet. I think it was Stephen who said, in my review at Weekend, I spoke about that and we touched on it on our live yesterday as well, actually, where we was talking about someone's probably going to do the stats and probably going to look into whether or not playing out is worth it still. Are we going to start to... If teams are going to press with 4s and 5s and really go for it, because winning the ball back on the edge of the opposition area is such a high probability of scoring a goal from that situation, our team's just going to go, it's not worth it, and just keep and go sending it when you can lose a game on a single...
Is that United?
Goal. Not just United, I'm just wondering in football in general. You see the way we've all moved to playing out. Will there be someone who goes, I ain't doing that, we're going long?
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen two of the best footballing teams currently in England do that. Everyone talks about the level of football that Man City and Arsenal play, but these are two teams that, if you look at like tactical stuff and technical stuff, they're good gaffers. Arteta hasn't achieved trophies in that, but it'd be disingenuous to say he's a bad gaffer.
No, like, it's just an easy target.
He's an easy target, but he's a good. Yeah, he's one for, and I stamp that a lot. I hate Arsenal, but he's got. They play Havertz and Haaland up front.
Yeah,
and the reason why they do that is because they want to make them. The City and Arsenal evolved in a way where they want to make themselves a little bit more like varied. What's the word? Like adaptable. Yeah, so like if they're playing against a team where they need to go a bit longer, they've got someone they can do it to. Because when City play against Arsenal, teams that are pressing high, they go a little bit more direct to Haaland and they bypass the press that way. And Arsenal do that as well with Havertz.
I think you've got to have that option. And I wonder, is that one of the reasons why we looked at Xerxes and Højlund? And you have got someone, I mean, we did see it once, possibly against Brighton. Onana's got a mad range on him, but we don't really seem to utilise it. And I wonder if once Ten Hag's... I hope this is the case. I don't know if this is the case. Once I'm seeing us playing out with better shape and more right angles in the way we play out, and I'm liking the we conceded 3 goals specifically from playing out.
Stratford End, yeah.
And on the telly against Brighton, I thought that some of the moves that we were doing against Brighton were nice, to be honest. And you could see it. I don't know if I was just fixated on Mazraoui and how fucking good and composed he looked against Fulham, but in those 3 games, United have played out better. Now, for everyone that's about to comment, you conceded 3 goals for playing out against Liverpool. Yes, we did, right? And I got nothing to say and come back to that, except that the general shape is improved from last season. Now, I wonder, once Ten Hag's happy with that, if he then starts to work on what's plan B with Højlund or Xerxes and going direct. Because United going direct and laying off like a Rashford, Garnacho or Ahmad from that target man is a little bit of throwback football. But also it might be a way for us to get through those like heavy press teams. Yeah,
I agree. I think we just have to be a bit. But the thing is, we're very, very one-dimensional though in the way that Ten Hag tactic. He's very stubborn in his tactical way of looking at things, so he's going to hammer it. And I've come to the conclusion that Ten Hag probably does have a philosophy that has a high ceiling to it, but it's one that requires almost like profile perfection, almost where he needs exceptional players that are perfect for what he wants to play in every single position.
Yeah.
And if he has that or has anything close to that,
he can't have any passengers in the team.
He can't have any like. He plays a style of football that has little to no Martin Ferrer. So it's going to reflect bad in terms of a mesh. It doesn't necessarily mean that he's a horrible manager. I've said this. He probably, I think the philosophy that he plays, or I can see what he tries to do. If he had exceptional players in every position, I know it sounds a bit cliche because then everyone would be good. But if he has the players he wants perfectly, the system could be unreal. But it almost needs too much it requires too much. Do you know what I mean? And I think that as a man,
with the knife fight that the Premier League is,
with what the Premier League is, I think he needs to.
Might be right.
But then you say that, and we've signed 13 players under his tenure. So
they've not all played though, and some play in multiple positions or positions the same as each other.
Yeah.
Tyler just said Sam Allardyce making a glorious comeback with that tactic, but the thing is. People have played possession and people have played direct football in the same leagues against each other for decades. That's always been the case. There's always been some who wanted the ball and some who didn't really fucking care. And there's always been people sort of misreading data and maybe misunderstanding data a little bit at times. You know, that was what sort of... There's a couple of things which shaped English football. One is the pitches, and 2 was, I think it was Walter Winterbottom. could be getting that wrong, who read the data about, I'm still sure this is the case, like most goals come from within like 3 or 4 passes. That's the sort of sweet spot for a pass. So he was like, well, let's just fucking smash it into the channel. And that's where that style of play came from, was someone kind of reading the data and maybe drawing a conclusion that might not have been the correct conclusion, but they were like, fucking just smash it into the corner and fight for it up there, and then see if you can get something off it. But here's the thing, those rudimentary and almost sort of like lo-fi tactics, unfortunately they're effective. Low blocking works, playing percentage balls works.
It's how Brentford have stayed in the Premier League.
Yeah, it works.
Because people don't know that Brentford in the Championship was a absolute technical ball playing footballing side under Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
Went to the Premier League and he thought, we can't play like this, otherwise we'll go down.
You got to respect that.
And they played percentages. Now, if you watch I think Brentford, because they've established themselves, they're trying to move back into what. But that's just Thomas Frank being a good manager and adjusting and adapting. And I think
his job when he first got here was to stay here, right?
Stay here.
So he's done that. Once you establish yourself, I reckon it takes 3, 4, 5 seasons. I mean, how many years they've been here? What, 4 now?
Yeah.
Is this the 4th?
Yeah, because we said it, every team that comes up and plays football tries to play football straight away. They're not going back down because of the quality gap. So
you got to respect what he's done there. The same with Eddie Howe. You have to respect what he did with Bournemouth when he brought them up as well. Because Bournemouth, as a town, as a football club, has got no fucking right to be in the Premier League whatsoever. When you got people like the likes of Leeds, the likes of Ipswich, the likes of teams of that kind of ilk being 2nd or even 3rd tier, fucking Bournemouth should not be anywhere near that level.
It's mad having Bolton and Brighton and like those 2 South Coast teams, because it's very small towns. But do you think now, because of the money in the Premier League these days, that when there should be more incentive for them to stay in the Premier League? Because I think these clubs that have never been in the Premier League before,
all want to stay in the Premier League.
I think if they stay and you get past that 2-3 years mark, the amount of money investment you get, you're able to stay and compete higher. But also you're in a position then as a football club where if you went down the Championship, you can easily come back up. Because you're seeing a lot of yo-yo teams and you're seeing a lot of situations where teams are going up and going straight down because of the quality.
I think everybody wants to stay in the league.
Yeah.
But can you imagine how hard it must be for you as a player, right? If I did it from a managerial point of view where I said, okay, I've spent 2-3 years getting my team to play this way. Now we've got promotion, the one thing that we were striving for, and I've got 6 weeks to get them to play an entirely different way to be able to just stay in that league. That's hard work, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of managers might not do that because they might go like, no, this is what got me to the dance. This is what's going to continue to be successful for us.
I think managers should have their principles and their philosophy and their tactics, but they have to be adaptable in it to change certain things, and that's what the best managers do. And that's the one thing that I criticise with Ten Hag. Ten Hag has principles and ideas, but he doesn't deviate from them at all.
Well, the only time there's probably one match he's deviated from it, and that was the FA Cup final. He's
like proper, which it's like a blessing and a curse almost, but it's been a curse mostly for Manchester United. But he doesn't care. I think I saw an interesting thread on it. Repeatability, as you've said, as you mentioned, there could be a situation where Ten Hag and his coaching staff thought it's not working with my players in what they're doing, but maybe if they keep playing it,
it'll click.
It'll click for them eventually. And sometimes that's what managers might think. They might think Casemiro might be struggling in his deep line playmaking role in terms of the reliance on him with not much defenders behind him in the rest defence or whatever. But he's thinking if I keep putting him in that situation, he might improve on it and he might actually get better.
They might also think, I just need time because it'll stick with time. Or they might think, I just need more windows because I'll replace the ones who can't do it with ones who can. And by season 3, season 4, we'll look more like what I want us to look like. What you're doing is you're going into training. You've got 30, 40 minutes to work with the lads. Probably a week, realistically, in between matches, where you can actually work on philosophical ideas and real tactical structure. I reckon so much of the week is dealt with strength and conditioning, which we'll come to this guy in a minute, recovery, which is huge, and probably massively understood certainly by me at least, and I imagine by a lot of people in the audience, in terms of how important that sort of active recovery kind of thing is. Because I'm a fucking knuckle dragger at the end of the day. Still, I just think just fucking work harder, innit? Fuck it. But they're probably not. Their training's taken up by, especially when there's 2 games a week, travel, recovery, opposition prep. There is so little time in the week for. Actually, Casemiro, this is where I want you to be. And we've gone long in all of the cup competitions every season. So there's not really been that time in the calendar for us to sit down and do 2-3 weeks where we can actually show what you're trying to do. I wonder how much of
he's not going to get the time, though, because obviously you've seen the article from Jamie Jackson saying that they're unhappy with the game model. They're more looking at that more so than performances. You've got Wilcox, who's in charge of seeing how the team play. And not even to bait him out, but by all accounts, there's a reason why when news gets briefed to the media about support for Ten Hag, it's always Barada, Ashworth. You never hear Wilcox's name because. Well,
maybe his role is not to be media facing, where the CEO and Ashworth, director of football, maybe there's a little bit more media facing.
Or he might just be a little bit more sceptical about Ten Hag than the rest of them. Keeping a close eye, because people thought when he first arrived, the first game was the derby in the final, in the FA Cup final, and then we saw a change. So then people alluded to, maybe that was Wilcox's imprint on it, and
well, that was
you heard Ten Hag heard about it, and Ten Hag wasn't happy about that notion at all.
It was mentioned that, but I think sometimes people just take that new information and then they apply their own percentage of how that played out. I imagine. With the size of leadership teams that United have got, especially for a marquee game like the FA Cup final, there's probably a team meeting of coaches going into that game. How do we beat City then? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What's this guy think? And that might have been the level of input. It's still, I believe, on Erik Ten Hag to come up with the plan and disseminate that plan. But Wilcox might have sat in that meeting and gone, actually, from my experience working there, I think, and watching their games, I think they're vulnerable to X, Y, and Z. The scout might have said something that aligned with that or was different to that. Whoever might have said something different. And I imagine that those meetings are happening right. I mean, probably not right now, but like right now. Wilcox and Rude and Rennie Hack, I think they're all going to be sitting there talking, analysing, looking at the tape. Right. Where can we get 2-3% improvements in different things? And then how do I then translate that onto the football pitch in training? And does that then, where can we get the easy wins to get closer to where we need to be? Because you can probably just be 10% off where you need to be in a Premier League
and lose the game. That's the problem. Sean Smith says, I think we can't really say Ten Hag has had enough windows considering we did nothing the past 2 Januaries. Those type of comments are disingenuous because that's giving the illusion that Ten Hag hasn't been backed when he's been here, when there's been 13 players signed and over £500 million spent. So you can't really go, he's not had 2 Januaries where he spent more, so he's not had enough windows. Quite frankly, we know what the situation is. We've seen it in the media. We've seen it said aloud. Ten Hag's managing for his job literally bi-weekly, basically. Or would you even say weekly? He's in it. So
looking at the media, the way the media goes off, it's weekly, isn't
it? He is basically under pressure.
Who's the next game? Southampton.
If
he don't win Southampton, do you think that anyone's not going to suggest he gets sacked?
I said this to Joe. Do you think Southampton away might be one of the worst games to have post this thing? Because
expected to win.
Because if you win the game, everyone says you should win anyway. It's Southampton. You know them ones. And if you don't win or you draw, all hell breaks loose. So you almost can't win either way. You almost needed, we said it needed to be like a Brentford that we beat or someone a bit like mid-table decent.
Even if you played Liverpool again, weirdly, or Arsenal, it'd be called lucky. You played off
it won't be called lucky. It won't be called lucky. People will go the other way and be excited and gassed about it. But
I wish.
I don't know, because where do you stand on it though? Because it does seem you can't have the summer go the way it went with in us talking to managers, doubt about his job, him being back to last minute and then being given a kind of semi-committed contract. We knew that. We knew when we went into
contractual extension money, so it's not a new contract.
We did know. Key. Surely you knew going into the season that it was going to be a situation where any time United lost a game or two, the media was going to be like, "When's he going?" I knew that was coming anyway.
I thought about it, to be honest.
I knew that was coming.
If I had, I probably would have done, but I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was going into it quite optimistic, thinking like, okay, let's just see how it goes.
Because Ineos done well in the summer and stuff like that.
It was the back end of pre-season, and then obviously you're losing Howland. Howland looked good, didn't he? Like he carved Arsenal open. Okay, wasn't Arsenal's greatest team, wasn't our greatest team, but Howland was causing Arsenal some problems.
Yeah, his goal
and then his fucking hamstring went, and you're like, oh, nice. And then you go, actually, where do our goals come from? And that's been my major worry, is that I don't know who scores goals for United at the moment.
That is true. But Howland wasn't exactly like mad.
He's not
prolific.
a 25, 30 goal a season guy. He's not proved he is yet. He might be, but
Xerxes missed. As to you, Xerxes missed 2 good chances. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I was encouraged by the chances he got, because there wasn't a doubt about him, about his like goal scoring instinct and his like box presence and stuff. His movement for those 2 was quite like alert and proactive.
The one he actually scored, it was good movement for the one he scored, and good finishing for the one he scored as well.
I think he would score. But that is another thing that fans are saying. Is there enough goals in the team?
If he scores 12, we're still like 70 short of where we need to be. Like realistically, you probably do need. All right, you probably need 70 goals, right, for a decent season. For a great season, you're probably talking more like 80, 85. But for 70 goals. Okay, let's say Xerxes can chip in with 12, right? So we need 58 goals elsewhere. Rashford, shit, man, could be anywhere from 6 upwards at the minute. So
he hasn't scored yet. He's not the shot on target yet.
Let's say, all right, let's low end it 7. Okay, cool. Now we need 51 goals. Okay, what's Garnacho coming in? Oh, let's Garnacho same again, because him and Marcus did the same last season. Let's say he goes better because he's matured a bit. He gets 8. All right. That's now 47 goals needed, 46 goals needed, or 45.
Yeah, and if Rashford gets 10 or under, he's going to get stick, because he's pre-targeted a lot by the fans as well going into games because of his form. Sometimes, a lot of the time, sometimes his performance is just justify the criticism. I do think some people take it a bit too far, but because even on the weekend, he got more stick than Garnacho.
Yeah, there you go. Rashford, Yusuf there, you can't be starting Rashford anymore. Why?
It's like on the weekend, my only problem is on the weekend is Rashford got more stick. I'm not saying Rashford played brilliantly. I thought he was actually okay. I thought he actually worked harder than he usually does. I saw that as well. Didn't know what it looked like in the stadium.
He defended well.
He did a lot of pressing. I saw him pressing on his own a lot and stuff.
The one thing I was upset with him is that he didn't look like he either had the legs or the confidence to get at Trent, and that for me was an opportunity he looked. But
I thought Garnacho was worse than Rashford on the weekend. But people have criticised Rashford more, and I've been telling people a lot. I think Garnacho was exciting, and he's got a very high ceiling, and I do like him. But I do think our fan base collectively does overrate him slightly, in my opinion. I feel like he's got so many raw elements to his game still. Yeah, like, he's a very lightweight. His decision making is not great. He's got a look to got people are putting. I think our fans need to be careful about how much they pedestalize Garnacho a little bit already, because he's still got a lot of growth to come. I think the ceiling's very high. I do like him. I think he's one of those wingers that when it clicks for him, he can be like a 20-25 goal a season type of winger. I think he's got that type of potential.
Yusuf goes, he's been off it for 2 years. It's not been 2 years though, has it, clearly? Fucking hell. It's been like the last month of the season before last and all of last season. But he came away with the same amount of league goals as Garnacho, who supposedly was fantastic. I think Garnacho could still be an impact player for us.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This is the issue we're talking about. If you look at our winger depth,
him, Ahmad, Rashford, none of them really are in form, and none of them are really like reliable to get you 15 plus goals.
Like that, yeah. Our winger depth. That's what people were talking about. Yeah, people tweeting about Brighton and how like they've been so greedy with their wingers. They've got about 7 starting caliber wingers at that club. They don't need that many.
I'd love
They need to give us one. Matoma. I like Matoma. Joe doesn't rate him, you know. Joe has loads of weird opinions like that. He doesn't rate Matoma. He likes
Maguire, so we can just...
Yeah, he's a big fan of Maguire. He's a big
massive fan of Maguire.
And if you say anything about Maguire, Joe's like your neck.
I just don't understand people who rate him.
I'm not a fan of him. And you know, the illusion. My mates are football people and play football, and none of them rate Maguire either. Yeah.
Young something over there says, yes, we should criticise 18-year-old Garnacho and not the senior winger in Rashford, our highest paid player. Rashford has great PR. It's nothing to do with that. Like, should the ceiling be higher for Marcus? Yes. Should the expectation be higher for Marcus? Yes. Is he playing below par? Yes. No one's denying all of those things. But right now, player for player, regardless of age, regardless of stature, regardless of wage, Garnacho is not benching him right now. So what don't people get about that? Now, maybe Marcus has got more of his proven potential that he's fell down, but does that not indicate that he's got more that he could grow back into? I admit that he's not started the season looking like he's going to prove anyone wrong.
Yeah, no.
That's the worry.
Yeah, exactly. But someone says off topic, who's Sam Erith? I was going to get into that when I was talking about.
I mean, it is kind of off topic, isn't it?
It is. No, he's being.
The old thumbnail.
So, all right. So Sam. Let me pronounce it. Sam Erith.
He's the new sports science guy, yeah.
He's Sam Erith is probably the 50th member of staff that's come in now. As you know, wow. I'm just throwing that number out there. I'm taking a piss. Right. In the back room. Yeah.
It does feel like a lot.
So it's someone that Wilcox knew that they've brought in, and I think it's some sort of performance director is the actual label that they've given him.
Oh, right, okay. So it's not just sports science.
Have appointed performance director until the end of the season as the drive to transform the club continues. And he has worked in roles across performance, health and sports science, and has previously worked with England, Manchester City and Tottenham, and he's even got links to New York-based Madison Square Garden Sports. So we've seen a lot of this. Ineos wanted to go for this NFL-style kind of roster in terms of the backroom staff. They want professionals in every single element. But
this is the best in class.
They're not going to care until we see results, though. But he does seem to have a decent amount of pedigree. Previous relationship with Wilcox. Dan Ashworth knows him from his time at England. So another kind of showing of Ineos meaning business in terms of getting footballing people in the right places and trying to... It almost sounds crazy, though, that United didn't already have these people in these types of places.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's genuinely embarrassing. Like, people go, well, you couldn't have run a football club. I actually think I could have done. I'm actually certain I could have run a football club better than the fucking likes of Woodward I've done for the last 11 years.
It's on an interim basis.
Not necessarily saying I could run it the way Ineos have run it. I ain't got the contacts for that sort of stuff, but I could have definitely not been as shit as like the likes of Woodward and Judge and that have been over the last 11 years. And I might be wrong, right? But I back myself for that. Because at least I would try and do shit like this. I would be like, right, who's the best strength and conditioning guy? Who's the best fucking drug dealer? Let's get them juiced off their fucking tits. Do you want to win one game or do you want to win every fucking game? Like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Let's fucking go for it. You know what I mean? I'd have done all the stuff that you wanted to see at the ground, which actually sounds like they're listening to be fair. The only one they haven't done yet is a big fucking wall past all the trophies, which I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
But they seem like they're on board with all the other stuff, Academy Stadium and like all that kind of shit. They're revamping Carrington, which I'm here for. Again, I'm not saying I'm the expert in that sort of shit, far from it. But I would find the guy that is. Now, I've got Manchester United money behind me. If I pick the phone up and go, Aya, yeah, from Manchester United. Yeah, I'll hold. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll get through.
So I'm trying to think what was the thought process behind like the appointment of the likes of Ed Woodward and that by the Glazers.
They appointed Ed Woodward because he was on the JP Morgan side of things and helped basically get them the fucking loan off the bank for when they bought the club. So they was like, oh, we like him. Give him a fucking job running the football club. What? So then when David Gill was there, from 2005 to 2013, while David Gill was there, Woodward was in charge of sponsorship or some shit like that. Oh, do you remember how well we did on sponsorship? Fucking no. Like, the only impressive thing United have ever done in that era when it came to sponsorship is selling the naming rights to a training ground that no cunt's allowed to go to. That's the only thing that they've done where you go, that's pretty impressive. We've got 100 and something million off Aon for Carrington, which is now expired. But there's not a damn thing we've done. City are signing record-breaking transfer deals, possibly even legally. Chelsea are signing record-breaking transfer sponsorship deals. Do you know what I mean? Like, The money is, yeah, they were, yeah. I think their one of their Samsung ones was a record breaker, I think.
Oh, so they're sponsorless now, innit? That's why.
Yeah, or whatever, recent years. So, like, all of the things that are going on, revenue's increased. Yeah, so's Burnley's, mate. Like, I don't know if you've been noticing the fucking TV revenue that's coming into the Premier League. United were top of the pile and so far over the horizon that other clubs might as well have been playing a different fucking sport. And then the Glazers came in and you watch United's share of revenue just go fucking brrr. And in that time, we were European champions as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, they did fucking nothing. Yeah. They did absolutely fucking nothing.
It's basically was a situation of United being that big of a club that it almost survived on its own. Almost ran itself. Because I think that's the truth. I think United being as big as it was, in terms of its global fan base, in terms of just culturally or whatever, that a lot of lesser clubs being ran the way that United was ran over that time probably wouldn't have survived, if I'm being honest. So we just got to be happy that era is slowly behind us. I know the Glazers are still in the background, but Ineos are actually making positive moves now. And this is another instance of it, but I just get the vibe from Ineos that not sure how patient they'll actually be. You've got our owner in Jim Ratcliffe, who's up there in age as well.
Yeah, does he need a trophy ASAP?
I get the vibe that I don't think it's Ineos are thinking long term, obviously in theory, but I think they want United to be challenging sooner rather than later, which is why I think they're going to be very strict and they're going to be keeping a close eye. Not going to be stupid, but they're keeping a close eye on the Ten Hag situation, because Ineos did it a way where they made it clear that they sat Ten Hag and that they wanted someone else, and then realised no one else was really better. So then they've stuck with him, but kind of half committed. So, and everyone knows that. That's basically public knowledge now. So I don't think we can complain about the media just picking up on every single loss that we get this season. I knew it was coming, where Ten Hag's job's going to be in the line. And I think, but to be honest though, I think Ten Hag being on like a thin line is probably warranted though. I don't think he's got a long leash.
No, I think saying the media should be allowed to just criticise anything that United are doing. On one hand, yeah, because it's a free country and you're allowed to fucking criticise whoever you want. It's the disingenuous nature of it, the way United get criticised for some stuff that they ignore with other clubs. If everybody got pasted the same, or even if everybody got pasted relative to the size of their club, like Liverpool's decisions and stuff should be getting... There should be as much pressure on Slot as there is on Ten Hag, but there isn't. No. Like, there should be insane amounts of pressure at Chelsea and at Arsenal, but they're not scrutinized. Like, the absolute carnage that has unfolded at Chelsea in the last couple of years under Todd Boehly, it barely gets spoken about. It barely gets spoken about.
And the fact, like, they get abused a lot by...
There was that fucking City fan who did a TikTok about me saying no one talks about City's charges. Think about the size of what's being discussed. You are suing the fucking league. That's not talked about anywhere near enough as any of the topics that cover United. This guy's probably got more fucking coverage this week than City's charges. It should be walled. Sky Sports should do about 9 hours a day on City's charges for how important for the game that is. Like, yes, it was covered when it came out. And the guy was even showing like, oh, look, this is people talking about it. It says 2023 on the bottom of that tweet, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not in the news cycle anywhere near as much as it should be. Compared to, like, United do fucking anything, it's in the news. Like, whenever a new kit comes out, right? This is as sure as clockwork. They might have even written next season's already, right? Anytime a new kit comes out, you won't believe the price of Manchester United's kit. Oh, you mean the same kit that's manufacturing Newcastle? Who else is Adidas? The Chelsea Adidas? Madrid? Like, oh... About 30% of the fucking league is Adidas kits, right? Why is it only ever Manchester United kit that ever gets? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the focus is fucking nuts. It shouldn't be the same.
No, I agree. Can you scroll up a little bit? There's a guy that said something. Slipped there. I think his leash, as you call it, is a lot bigger. Mate, stop believing the media. That is
I really don't think
that's incorrect, and I don't like when people do that. I've been criticising it. So you're telling me to stop believing the media about his leash being a lot bigger. How do you know that for sure, and how do I know that for sure? But you've kind of said your opinion in a way like you're more factual than me, which isn't the case. And for one, when it comes to media belief, I've said this many times, it's just confirmation bias anyway, because you obviously have an opinion. If the media came out and said he's safe, you'd say you'd believe that. But because the media's saying something you don't like, then you don't believe it. That's the talk. That's what I say when fans are like, "Oh, you stop believing the media." What do you mean by that? It means you're gonna believe what you want to believe and not believe what you don't want to believe, just depending on what's being said. You can't have it one way and have it the other. It's just confirmation bias, really. So, Graham Allen, I disagree, mate. Anyway, I don't know how he could be on a long leash anyway after what's happened. It's been quite clear. They were literally 1 second away from getting rid of him. So I don't know.
Yeah, and no.
Yeah.
Whether or not, I don't know if we know for sure when they interviewed people in the summer if it was 100% for the manager's job and it was 100% going to be Ten Hag, because I wasn't in the fucking room and Jason Wilcox hasn't fucking texted me to tell me his plans. Call me old fashioned, right?
Yeah.
I'm still not 1000% convinced when they sat down with McKenna after seeing Ruud van Nistelrooy come through the door that they didn't offer McKenna the assistant manager job. And it might have been the assistant manager.
You did suggest that. Like,
it might have been the assistant manager job with a caveat of you'll get the fucking nod if he goes. Which, when you think about Ruud van Nistelrooy coming from being a manager to taking a lesser role at Manchester United, okay, it might not be for everyone. And it might not have been for McKenna, hence why McKenna said no, right? Because that's the vibe in it. McKenna signed a new contract. Amidst the talks with United, McKenna signed a new contract with Ipswich. So, is it plausible that United offered him the assistant job with the nod if Ten Hag goes? Yeah. Do I know that factually? No. It's my opinion. It's my take on the facts that are out there. Now, they might have actually offered him the manager job, but when you consider the sort of people that they're allegedly considering, as good a job as McKenna has done, he's not Premier League proven as a manager, and I think that it makes more sense that he was offered the assistant job in the Ruud sort of vein than it was that he was offered the actual managerial job. But again, I could be wrong. Like I don't know. I wasn't in the room, and I'm not. One thing I do like about Ineos is that there's nowhere near as many. If this was under Woodward, we'd fucking know, and I'd even know how long his fucking contract was for, and how much was in it. Like I would know all of that sort of shit because it's dead easy to fucking find out.
At Manchester United, especially under the Glazers, probably under, you can't have 2 seasons finishing outside top 4, think, and survive. No, as a United manager, that seems to be the under the Glazers. You
couldn't have one. That was the rule, wasn't it?
Because of the money. Yeah. It's definitely the money reason.
That was the game, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. Really, I think Manchester United have a requirement to be in the Champions League. Okay, we didn't sack Ten Hag this season. Why? Well, they've clearly decided that they don't think the reasons and the blame for us finishing outside the top 4 fit or sit squarely enough with Ten Hag, and have decided to give him another opportunity.
Ineos did reference the injuries and some of the. Look, it felt like so much happened last season as well. Would you ask about Clayton saying, get Ash on the XG?
Not the first time that's been. Getting Ash on XG or getting Ronnie on Ed's gone. I think both of those are viable options. I would be interested.
But I think it's only viable for me.
You're kind of on Head's gone anyway. As like
in the background, as an extra.
An extra just chatting absolute wibble or fucking walking through.
I'm not allowed to be on it. I'm allowed to be on it now, innit? Because I think I couldn't have just been on Head's gone previously.
I think we kind of did what we wanted anyway, to be honest with you. So,
Jake would have been like, "What are you doing? Why is he on there?"
But yeah, Head's gone is going to be on this channel as of next week. So look forward to that. And me and Ash have got a new show that's coming out as well called The Tactical Show, which we'll explain when we actually do it. But it's going to be a little bit like a Match of the Day, a little bit like a Monday Night Football, but on YouTube. Just talking about one very, very on-topic football topic, because with Heads Gone, Well, we don't make any promises about that whatsoever.
Yeah. Hi, Steve. Ronaldo, do you think Rashford's bad form is due to him playing with regret? I feel since the new contract he hasn't been the same. I don't think any person regrets signing a contract for 300 whatever K. Do you think he regrets that? I think that's
Nah, I mean, I don't know what's the matter with him. Yeah. But he does feel different, and he does feel reserved, and he does feel like he doesn't want to be there. Like there's an energy that people give off, and I saw him up close. I think I was the only person he actually acknowledged on the tour. Like he came over and shook my hand, but didn't speak. But I know him enough to have a conversation with him.
He's got his guard up with
big time,
with fans,
everybody,
because he knows fans have been on his case for a long time, and he's not a fan favourite.
So he give a different energy, and people talk about, he didn't look like on pitch. You see more what people are like off the pitch. Now, we weren't in the Players' Hotel this time. Last year on tour, we were in the Players' Hotel, and you see him up close, and you can chat to him, and he was different. You just have to trust me on my experience with him. He was different and way more guarded, and it was different enough to go, hey, that was weird. That was different. Super chat there from Chris says, been following content for a few years from Canada. Do I pay attention to the Ballon d'Or nominees? Any surprises? Xhaka for me.
Why is Xhaka a surprise? He just
basically had an undefeated season.
And he was like their best player.
Did an absolute madness.
Yeah.
No, it's very much a popularity vote. Yeah. Which it fucks me off when people try and explain why Steven Gerrard was good because he had more Ballon d'Or nominations than Scholes, and you're like, all right, whatever. Like that it's voted by fucking journalists.
It's proper. It's kind of corrupt a little bit. It's more tailored towards. It's very hard to win a Ballon d'Or if you're not a Real Madrid or Barcelona player. Yeah. So take that how you want to take it in terms of like the way it's ran and a bit of the corruption.
Someone says that the story's out there, fact or opinion. It's the same when people said it was 100% gone. Listen, I recorded a video where I was talking about him going to PSG, right? It didn't come about, and you didn't see the video for those reasons. But there's a lot of talk locally. Clearly, it didn't come off. Damien says, a bit off topic, but your lads at Paddock, like you said, are quite high-level players, and you're 13th tier, and I play 10th tier in mids, and it's easier. Why? What's the question there?
He's basically saying you have high-level players playing in the 13th tier, but he plays in the 10th tier, and I think he thinks the 10th tier that he plays in the mids looks and feels easier than the level he watches for
probably
Paddock.
Is because we don't. Anyone who's watched one of our games, or more than one of our games, I would say, and certainly those who've watched them in person, would recognise we don't get the same level of opposition as everybody else in our league, which I know sounds mental to say, but there is very much a United and Old Trafford kind of factor for Paddock. My players individually could all play, all of them. If you're a regular starter for Paddock, you could easily play level 10. Would you agree?
Is that North West Counties?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
And there's a few that would be comfortable playing level 9, and one or two that would be fine.
We spoke about this. There's a lot of...
There's a lot of... It's very tight.
The standard is like... It's weird, and it's a lot of variation.
And when players have left us, there's players who can't get into my team that will leave and go and play level 10, which is fucking nuts, isn't it? But that's a reality. That's a reality that happens quite frequently, actually. It's happened multiple times.
Yeah. Thingy's flying at level 11 now, isn't it?
We had players who would be 5th, 6th, 7th choice at centre half, who went and played level 8, I think, and could not get into our team. There's a massive cup final factor about playing for us. The cameras bring that. I probably bring a percentage of that, but it's a reality, and it's a frustrating reality, because you look at some of the opposition and you go, we'll fucking absolutely box them up, but they get so up for playing us. It's mental. It is. Yeah, that's the top and bottom of it, I think. But if we'd have just been called, I don't know, Trafford United, we probably could have gone. We'd probably be knocking on the door of the counties right now if we didn't have all the cameras and all the rest of that sort of stuff. I think that we'd probably exist in the counties. When we do play teams that don't give a fuck about us because they're a bigger team, we look good, innit? It's that underdog, man. We fucking struggle with that sort of stuff. But it is what it is.
And quite often people, as a football, some players are like it, a lot of players are, but sometimes teams and players do like play up to the level. So you might get better performances from people when we're playing higher up because people have that kind of innate thing of we're playing higher up and the standard of game's better, you raise your level almost. There's a bit of that as well. And it's very easy at this level to play down to the level that you're playing at, and that can be an effect. But as someone says, promotion's an absolute must this season, yeah.
Ant says, I wouldn't have wanted to play for a team with the media coverage Paddock has, and I played for a conference team. It's fucking wild, you know. Biffy says, how are Paddock getting on? Haven't seen any games posted to the channel for a while. We've changed how we covering the games. Malik says, sounds like an excuse. Not an excuse, mate. It's the reality of what it is. We've changed how we're covering the games at the moment, so you probably won't be seeing like highlights on as you normally do. But all of our games are on Twitch now. We've got a fucking ledge commentator in Liam who's doing full match coverage, and those that are in the chat watching the games on Twitch, I think they're quite an enjoyable kind of experience. You'll see every single game. It's completely fucking free, and you'll get a full night.
What's the average viewers?
To see.
About 50-ish, 20-ish, 30-ish.
No, it's more like 100.
Okay.
So it's doing okay. But yeah, you know, we're trying to change and adapt stuff. I did see a comment earlier saying, when's the next IRL video? Obviously, we're about 2 months or so since we did an IRL video. That's pre-season, summer, spending time with the family, and the Euros has got in the way of that. But there is 10 videos that are planned, 2 of which are short. 1 should be going next week, and then 1 should be the week after. And we hope it's going to be weekly from then. But yeah, so busy.
Yes, but I think that's it though. XG Files, another one flies by, but it's been an hour long. It's not felt like it though. It took us about 40-50 minutes to actually speak about the topic, but if you're not new here, that's quite common. And you should tune in later on to the brew where Steve's probably going to do the exact same thing.
Ross says you can see Steve screaming at the ref for free. Yeah, if the veil's on my side of the pitch, you'll hear all sorts. I got sent off at weekend.
Ah, fuck's sake. And on that note, sign us out, Steve.
Yeah, man. Right, in a bit. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.